Hey folks, Jonathan here. Back playing with the sawmill here a little bit. Got some issues that I'm trying to get straightened out. One issue is this pulley. I cannot get this thing quite right. It's been cracked and welded, and I guess I should have known better, but I thought it would be okay. But I guess for the application it was on, it was fine, but for this I'm spinning it faster, and I don't like the I don't want any vibration in this if I can keep from it. The engine shakes at idle anyway, which I don't like. It's good above idle, but at idle it's just not balanced like I would like, but I'll live with it. But this pulley has got to go. It's not far off when it comes to checking it with dial indicator, but it's just not, I don't know. I could probably balance it and get it out all right, but I went and ordered another one, and we're going to add a bearing to the outside also, just because it's so big and heavy. And I'm trying to get this thing to run as smooth as possible. So my other issue, this tire, which is a Maxxis from China, don't match the other tire, which is a Goodyear from I think Mexico. Anyway, so they match size wise and all that good stuff. There's not a problem there, but you know, they're two different brands. They're two different brands, and my problem is yeah, it's made in Canada, but the problem is this rim has got a little bit of a warp or something in it. It's not right. This one's good, this one's not. So I've got another one that I found that I've got to go pick up. I'm just not happy with that at all. And but the blade does run on it. I mean, it runs fine on it. There's not a problem there. It's got a little bit of a bounce on it, and you know, you can see a little bit of a vibration that I don't like. I really want this thing to run smooth, and so that's what we're working on. I've gotten my idler set up. What I've done is put two idler pulleys. I normally would have made that, but I was in a hurry, so I went ahead and just bought two cheap idlers. Put on, there's the belts, and then I've got a emergency brake that just pulls in, and as you can see, and then you can take it off. And then I can add a spring to it to hold it down, plus I can add a brake here to stop the wheel from turning when I get to that point. And then so I don't know when the new pulley will be here, but we can keep going without the new one. So I've gotten one side of the lead screw on right here. This one's done, or tacked on anyway. This one here I don't have on yet. I've got everything machined for it though, and got the bracket made and got the bearings. Now these bearings here, this flange and the other one's a pillar block. These were used that I had and was saving, so they're in really good shape. I mean, there's no problems with them. So this nut will get mounted to here, and that's what will raise and lower it. But what we're doing now is we got to get the other side done, but we're waiting on the other sprocket. I had to order one more sprocket the same size. Our gearbox is going to go here and go down. I'm hoping it'll be enough to wrap the chain. If not, we'll put an idler on it to get enough wrap around this particular pulley in the center. And then we'll have adjusters out each side, both sides, to adjust the blade up and down. So that's about it. Going to start on the idlers for the blade today. I've got some bearings, so we're going to go ahead and make them and try to get that done so I can get the alignment right on that. And everything else seems to be going good. Most of our carriage is finished and everything. I've just got a lot of stuff I got to go back and finish weld that I haven't welded, but it's, you know, not really a problem. So anyway, I've got to take our motor apart and clean it really good. The brushes are not making real good contact in there, and I took the cover off and noticed that it was pretty it had been wet in there at one time. So it's working good, but it's not. Every once in a while it jumps a little bit because they're just not making contact in there. And I'll do whatever it takes to fix that, even if I end up having to buy a damn new unit. But I don't want any jerking in it. I want it smooth. And you know, just because you build something and you build it from scrap doesn't mean you have to be satisfied with something that's not up to your standards. And you know, there's no reason for that. And let me see, the belts, well, they're touching right now because it's not engaged, but when it's engaged they don't touch that. But I am going to weld a plate on there. We're going to reinforce the motor mount. That really needs to be done. A lot of little stuff like that I'm going to go back through and get everything, you know, the way I want it for sure. But it's working good. I can dog into the blade right now, but like I said, until I get that other tire on and stuff, I'm not going to do it. But I don't need it jumping off. But I mean, it's not jumping off at all, but I mean, I'm just not happy with it. So I want it to run smooth. I mean, that's the whole point of it, is to make it run like I want it. If it don't run like I want it, then I'll take it all back apart and start over. I'm just not I'm not going to be satisfied with you know, something that I'm not satisfied with. Does that make sense? Okay, let me get back at it. Okay folks, haven't done much video. I don't know if I've even got any video on here of work I've done on this mill, but I just wanted to show you where we were at and with it. I'm testing. Actually, this is the second log. It's doing a real good job. I did find one nail. I didn't check this with my metal detector. I probably should have, but I didn't. Okay, issues. What we've got for issues. I've got to do something with our hold downs to be able to get closer to the deck. The other side's no problem to do. This side here, I'll figure something out on. It's not a big issue really, but this log here was 16 inches at one end, 13 at the other end. Matter of fact, I'll show you. Here is a board from this. One of the top boards, you see how butted out it was on one end. And I don't know if, yeah, bark. Okay, you can see that there was damage on that tree at one time. And someone had bumped it. And that's what happens with yard trees. But anyway, that's the deal there. So the bigger end is this end where you see a lot of the sap here. This is almost turned to lighter. These logs have been laying on the ground for quite a while, and people say that you can't use them after that. You can see they turned a little dark on the ends, but you know, I wanted to use them as test logs, but man, the lumber's so nice in them, I'm going to keep them. Now, you see my little lines in there. That's what I was talking about the difference between hand feeding and power feeding. I think I can make it where you don't see that, except the fact that my power feed is not working. That's why I don't have it in there. That's me stopping, I'm sure, you know, or not pushing even. And the reason my power feed is not working, excuse my mess, because I got a big mess here where I've been working, and I'm not a clean worker, of course. If you hadn't figured that out yet, then you hadn't watched my videos. But here's the drive for it. The motor was working, and it worked from the beginning, but something's coming apart in the motor. I think the magnets are coming apart in it, and it started giving issues. So I ordered a new motor, and it should be here this week, and then I can get it back on. But for now, I was just pushing it. Issues. And most of you know that I told you I was using this pulley, and it had been cracked and welded back together at one time, and it was really good for testing, but I can't get this thing balanced perfect, so I did order another pulley, and it'll be here. I already put a new center on it. That's an H series taper lock, I think is what it's called. But anyway, so that needs to be replaced. I'm going to go ahead and add another bearing on the outside just because I want to help support it, and then I'll put a bolt-on bracket over here from the motor to it. And let me see. Okay, I really screwed up. Now I'm hoping I got this on video because I want to show you, because you know, I'm just like anybody else, especially when you're not engineering something on paper, okay, and then building it, and you start engineering it, and you run into issues. You do things that you don't think about. I'll give you one right here, for instance, real quick. Let me find my handle. I temporarily threw this link up here, and this is what I use to, you know, adjust up and down. When I go up so high, okay, I got a board on here. I guess it's about 10 inches tall, and as you can see, my handle will clear my pulley, but once I start raising this, the handle starts hitting the pulley. So when I get up to a, you know, 16, 18, 20 inch log, this is going to hit it. So that's why everything here is just temporary. It's all just tacked together. So this comes back off and gets extended out far enough that it clears this. But that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of stuff that you're going to do when you're building something like this. You're not going to allow for clearance and stuff like that, and you're going to mess up, and you just do it as you go. That's why you do so many spot welds. Actually, a lot of this is still spot welded. It needs to be welded permanent, which I plan to do hopefully today. So if you spot weld enough where it's going to hold, don't spot weld it where it's going to fall off on the ground. I mean, you know, just put enough weld on it where you know it's going to hold good. Engine's mounted permanent. Here's what I've done wrong. Okay, I have got a emergency brake handle off of a Nissan, and when I pull that tightens my belt up and holds it. When I take it off, it comes back off. I got a spring on the other side holding this. So, you know, it loosens the belt up, no problem. And everything spins free. My problem is when I first set this up, I set it up over here, and I had to pivot on this. Well, when this carriage moves up and down, this don't move. So it worked really good until I moved the carriage. As soon as I moved the carriage, it wouldn't work. And that was just an absolute stupid mistake. And what really gets me is I had 2 or 3 of my friends that came, and they seen it and never said a word to me. So that told me that, you know, it was pretty easy to mess up and just not realize it. So I done that, and once I got my carriage going up and down, as soon as I moved it, I said, oh no, you know, and I took it off real quick before anybody could see it. But anyway, so that's done. You know, pretty much everything's done. I've done a lot of welding and grinding. I didn't clean it up perfect, but I mean, you remember the top of this was in rough shape. I've got all my adjusters in to adjust the inside for the tracking. I built my wheels and made them adjustable. Now this is a link off of this would be a weld-on link for a 3-point hitch, and this is not my design. Okay, I want to make that clear. This is a really good setup, but it is copied from somebody else on the internet, I think. And the person I copied it from, I'm sure copied it from somebody else, and you know, it's been copied a million times. I think Cook's down in Atlanta or down in Alabama uses this sort of a setup, but anyway, so it adjusts up and down, it adjusts in and out, and this will adjust lengthwise by loosening you know, these 4 up, and you get your depth right, and then you can actually adjust this completely. This is on a round shaft, but it's on a square tube inside. I don't know if I can get around to where you can see that or not, but there you go. It's all rough in there. You can see how much I got this one adjusted. So basically you tighten and loosen on these until you get this where you want it. You want your blade to be level, perfectly level, and then you push down on the blade. They say at least 1/4 of an inch of pressure down on the blade, but that's how you set your height. You know, your one end to the other of the blade to be exactly right with your bunks. Bunks being where your logs sit. That's what I'm calling them anyway. Log bunks. So they're down, they're on, they're 3 inches higher than what that beam was originally, and I've just got them welded in. Everything seems to be working well. I've got these on this side, you can lower them, but this will actually catch this. So if you make this 3/4, then you can cut a 1-inch log without having any issues. But I've got to go do something on the other side to hold it a little better. It's working out though. Everything's working fine. This is what you call a cant. You know, when you saw it into a square and then you can, you know, saw your lumber off of it. All of my my live edge stuff right here is I'm letting my son take. He's got a project he's doing with that, so all the live edge he can take, and then all of the boards for now I'm keeping. And this is, like I said, the second log, and I'll show you some lumber from the first log. And this was all free. This was just advertised on Facebook Marketplace right here in Vass, close to me. Free logs, come and get them. I think it was 5 logs total. So. Here is 3, 4, 5, 6 1x7s, because that's what it came out. I don't have to have it a particular size. You know, I don't mind it being 7. There's my last board. Now that's 1.5 inches, but the reason I done that is I didn't want to get too close when I was sawing it down low. But the thickness of the boards from one end to the other is really consistent, really good, no problems. I'm tickled. It's really coming out good. It's, you know, cutting good and straight. So we're going to get this one cut, and then we'll get all the lumber stacked up and put some pieces between it so it'll air dry, which this is pretty dry. This stuff's been, like I said, it's been on the ground for a long time. He actually advertised this as free wood or free logs, come and get them. I think it was like 17 weeks ago. And I had messaged him and he asked him if they were still there, and he said yeah, and he said come get them. So yeah, 5 free logs. So there's plenty of wood around, or plenty of logs around people will actually give you. Everything worked out good. I did have to buy one different wheel. That other one must have been in a wreck because the rim was warped on it. I was having issues with it. I ended up going with 2 idlers on here, and I'm actually going to make that one adjustable, but I went with 2 idlers to get enough wrap around this box so it would turn right. And it works really well. I'm glad I went with 5. As many turns as you got to make on this thing, 5 to 1 inch is perfect. If I'd have went 8, I'd be wore out. I mean, I'm not one for cranking a handle too much. I'd rather it be electric. But everything's good. I've still got to finish welding the nuts for the Acme thread on. I mean, they're on there and done. You know, you can see a lot of tacks, tack welds. You know, when you're fabricating and doing testing, that's how it works out. But anyway, it does saw good. It seems to be working really well, and I think once we get the drive on it, I'll do a finish video of doing some cutting and stuff with it. Once I get everything how I want it. I did put the rotor back on this side, and I put the drum on the other side to get the rims out where they needed to be on the because the way they were tapered, I don't think the rim was coming in there good and flush like I wanted it for the surface. So I've got a lot more welding to do there. Like I said, it's working well. You can see this is adjustable, and that brings this arm over and makes the distance between your blades shorter, which is a good thing. So, but anyway, so I got a big mess to clean up here, and we're gonna get at it. Probably go ahead and saw the rest of this board here, and then, or this cant here, and then we'll go from there. But I think this is 10 inches tall and 9 inches wide. So we're gonna have some 1x9s. I could flip it and do 1x10s, but it don't matter to me. I mean, it's one of them deals to where, for what I'm using this stuff on, it's not gonna really matter at all. Enough to cover and finish is all that really matters. So anyway, all right. So we'll keep at it, and I'll show you a final video on this thing here really soon, probably this week sometime. All right, appreciate everybody watching. Till next time, bye.